Hey, welcome to Weld.com, home of TIG time. Hi, I'm Mr. TIG, and we've had a lot of you out there ask us to test equipment and various types of equipment. A lot of it I've never even heard of. So we've gotten one question or request over and over and over again, and truly it's coming from people that want to know about the equipment that comes out of Harbor Freight. So we went down to Harbor Freight, we bought a welder, and it's $199. We're going to set it up here in front of you, and I've already unpacked it, so I have an idea what comes with this. So I'm going to share it with you, and we're going to do some live testing. And just keep in mind, welders come in all sizes and shapes, and this certainly is not an industrial welder. And my expectations at $199 can't be very high. So I kind of laugh at the size because it's really small. It's I don't know, this thing's probably, I don't know, 15 pounds tops. So you know it will fit more into the garage home enthusiast type category. But I went ahead and unpacked it and pulled out the instructions. And even though we don't use instructions, I just want to see what the warranty was on it, and I want to see what comes with this. So as I'm going down through it, I say I got the power supply, and I've got in the front, you'll see these little DINS connectors. Those are DINS 25 connectors. So it means that you're not going to get much amperage out of this, but you're going to get 130 amps, at least according, to the literature. Now this is a 220 unit. Actually, I would have expected it to be a 110, but it's 220, and it's got the little 50 amp NEMA plug on it. And if you want to stick weld with it, it's got the stick welding apparatus. Got a ground, and you can see the ground has that little DINS 25. Put it in the hole, turn it, and we're going to show you how to do that shortly. But this is probably the most critical part of it. And interesting enough, I looked at the TIG torch, and it's a 17 style TIG torch. I don't know who makes a TIG torch, but it's actually, it looks like it's pretty good quality. So anyway, I'm going to have to put the torch components on it that I like, but this doesn't have any fancies in it whatsoever. So if you want to turn your argon on, here's the valve. So this is a 17V as in valve. So it's just on and off. You can turn your gas on and off with it. That's it. So I follow this down to a connector right here, and this is going to plug into the front of the machine as well. It goes in, turns to the right. So now I've still got to figure out, where do I hook up my argon, and where's my gas regulator? And I don't have one. There's not one with it. So I followed the hose and came to the end there, and that's all I've got is a hose. So at this point, I'm not quite sure how I'm going to hook up argon. So went to the brochure here. It doesn't reference anything about a regulator, so there's probably a kit somewhere that I didn't get off the shelf, and it's an additional cost. So in the meantime, what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to kind of rig up some kind of a gas setting for this. So it's not going to be the factory gas setup. Anyway, look at the very back page. This has got a 90-day limited warranty. So DC only. I'm going to go ahead and set this machine up and set it up with my own regulator, and then it's going to be a scratch start. There's nothing fancy about it. So I think I'll scratch start, and I've got two pieces of stainless steel. I'm going to overlap them. I'm going to scratch start and just do a lap burn down with it, and that's about all this is going to handle, I hope. So stick with me. Let me get this thing put together, and I'll join you in just a few minutes. Okay, now what I've done is I've got everything unpacked. I managed to get the argon line hooked up. I'm going to be running about 15 CFH of argon, and this is the packet that comes with the torch head. So it's the standard 17 size cups, and collets, collet bodies. So I'm going to go ahead, and it comes with a long back cap. The reason I put the long one there is because the tungsten that you get with it is a full 6 or 7 inches, so you could slide it in there. I've taken the liberty of pre-grinding a tungsten. I'm going to use the 1/16 right now, and I've just got to find the right components for it. So what I've got is the standard like I say, the torch itself, it's a pretty good torch. It's got a instead of a copper interior to it, it's got brass. So the threads hold up a little better with the brass. Okay, so I've just got a standard 6 cup. Okay, so there we go. I've got about a 1/4 inch stick out on this, and I tighten it. Now it's in position. Okay, now if I get ready to weld, I turn the gas on, and you can hear it when I finish my welding. I shut it off. So that's for the torch setup. Now back to the machine. Again, I've just got the standard 220 plug. I've plugged it in. Now I'm looking at this ground. Now, if you notice right here on the front, I'm putting this in DC minus, DC negative. Put the ground clamp in the positive. Turn this machine all the way up to 130. I'm going to see what it'll do. Okay, so it's set at 130. I'm going to set up a little ground here, but before I get started, I'm going to go ahead and put on my safety gear. And this is just about ready to go. So let me get my gloves on, my safety gear on, and then we'll do a little tack weld. It's going to be a scratch start. Okay, I'm getting ready to scratch start. And I'm going to tack it at both ends. And it seems to be running a little bit hot. It did tack okay, but I'm going to turn this thing down. You know, I had it set at 130 and it was too hot. I set it at 110, it's too hot. I'm going to drop it down to about 80. Now usually the rule of thumb is 1 amp per thousandth of thickness. Now I've got 125 to 125 in a lap joint in stainless, so this thing seems to be running just a little bit hotter than normal. So now I'll take a look at it. Now the machine says it's 80. I'll see if it adjusted down that far. Yeah, pretty difficult to start. It's running much hotter than normal. When I say normal, you get into the higher dollar machines. You know, when you dial up 100 amps, you get 100 amps. This is definitely running somewhere around 125 amps. And the setting says that it's 80. But, you know, overall, you know, it's welding. I get gas coverage. When you finish your weld, you have to actually kind of flare off of it because there's no way of stopping your arc. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. So I welded this piece, this lap joint, with a 1/16 diameter tungsten. Now this tungsten only holds up to about 120, 130 amps. But the hardest part in all this is arc starting. It didn't have high frequency start, it didn't have lift start, it has scratch start. Very much like when you're stick welding. And it's stuck and it's stuck and it's stuck. So I do this all the time and it's difficult. So I know that you're going to have the same difficult time. Just know that you just do a little whipping action just to lightly catch it and the arc will initiate. So I mean, overall, what do you expect? You know, $199. This will get you out of a jam. It's certainly not a professional setup. Like I say, there's a couple of neat, good qualities to it, but my expectations are not very high for it. But I could do steel, I can do stainless steel with it, and I really wouldn't go much above 1/8 of an inch thick materials. But you know, you can do some auto body work with it and some home projects, fix lawnmowers and stuff like that. So anyway, my evaluation is, you know, it's $199. It's okay. just okay. Would I use it at the racetrack or somewhere else like that? Probably only at the lower level racing. It runs off 220. I would expect it to be a 115 because that's really all you need for an inverter of this size. So anyway, you know, we got this machine. I wanted to show it to you, and I just want to thank you for watching TIG Time. I'm Mr. TIG.